Hello there, you're watching WilhelMiniatures. In this episode I will continue working on my turnip troll for turnip 28. In the last episode I mainly worked on the helmets for my two-headed troll, and I think they turned out very nice. I also added a little texture to the back of my troll using some leftover green stuff and a potato to create the texture, or to stamp in the texture. To begin this episode, I think I'm going to start by detailing the helmets a little. I need some rivets for my helmets, and for that I will use these two different thicknesses of thin plastic rods. So what I'm going to do is just to slice this rod into some thin slices and then pick them up with the tip of my knife, dip them in a little bit of super glue and try to put them in place. It doesn't matter if they stick out a little bit more than I want right now, because I will file them and round them off a little bit when the super glue has dried. This helmet has a very nice finish because I made a pattern into the green stuff using a ball stylus that I showed you in the previous episode. But this one is very rough, even though I really like the shapes and I think the angles are more or less how I want them. I think I want to add a little bit of texture to it to hide some of these little cracks and also the sanding lines and all that. And I'm going to use some liquid green stuff for this. What I think I will do is actually to apply the liquid green stuff in a stippling fashion, so that I can also get something that I might dry brush and paint as a rust effect when I'm going to paint this one. So if I stipple this into the recesses, it's going to leave a nice texture that's going to be very fun to dry brush, I hope. This will also blend the rivets into the piece. I think this means that the heads are more or less finished. So here we have the troll body, and let's see how to attach the heads. In the previous episode I was thinking about trimming down the necks a little to have them, the heads closer to the body and closer together, but in the end I think I actually like them to be like this. With the long neck and the kind of beak-like helmet, it looks a little bit like a weird, stupid bird, and I like that. So I think I will go for, keeping the necks as they are. So what I think I'll do is just have some glue on the necks and then connect them before gluing them to the body. I like the asymmetrical look, as if it's not really supposed to have two heads, or that it's struggling a bit with having two heads. Yes, that's going to work quite nicely, and also on the back here I will definitely have a lot of texture, as I've already started, because I want it to be a lot of dirt and plants and vegetation on this troll's back. Because as I mentioned in the previous episode, that's a very common look, both for Norwegian trolls and also for the miniatures that I've seen so far in the turnip 28 setting. I think I want to work on the transition between the two necks before I glue this piece onto the body, because it's much easier to work on it now, I think. So here I have mixed up some green stuff and milliput, about a 50-50 mix. That's the medium I prefer to sculpt with, because it's not as sticky as pure green stuff, and it's a little softer than pure green stuff as well, although it is sticky enough that you can easily apply it to the surface. And as I usually do, I have a little hand cream on the back of my hand, easy accessible, to moisten my tools so that they don't stick to the putty as well. I want to add some holes also, as if the two necks are kind of stretching away from each other, making some yeah, stretch marks. Yeah, I think that looks good. It looks like they're kind of pulling away from each other and yeah, kind of ripping themselves apart. I don't want these to be open holes. I want them to be, yeah, to be painted as skin. I like the idea that these two are arguing from time to time, and even though they share a body, they have different personalities and they are not necessarily best friends. Yes, I like this. This looks good. I need a little bit of texture. And for that I'm just using my old dry brush that I like to stipple over the surface that I want to give a skin texture. But I'm glad I did the most detailed parts between the heads before gluing it in place, because it is quite annoying to handle such a large and actually quite heavy resin miniature. I think I'm going to follow that pattern further down, so the stretching can go down all the way down here. I still have a lot of filling to do up here, but that's going to be much easier, and I will start doing it now with the small piece that I have left. I'm just adding some lumps of green stuff. I'm just smoothing them a little in case I don't texture the entire surface and some fingerprints are visible, but I don't think this is a necessary step actually. And then I'm grabbing my potato, as I did in the last episode, to push in some organic textures. That's going to be very nice as a base for all the dirt and plants and vegetation that I will put on top of this. I really like using organic materials to create texture on clay surfaces. You can use anything, not just a potato. I mean, if you have something with a textured skin, for example, an avocado or an orange or something, that's going to be very nice, give a very nice texture as well. Of course, a potato doesn't have too much texture on it, but these small growths and holes is what I try to push in, because they will produce some nice little dents into the surface. Some nice natural organic dents. So here I'm just putting my troll on a base, as it's starting to be a little front heavy and tipping over. We can't have that. Okay, as this is a huge miniature, I'm definitely going to add much more details, and he needs a hand and a weapon maybe. And I want to add a lot of textures, so I'm going to add textures in several layers. So this will not be the final layer of texture, but I think it's about time to start adding some, because I think texture is going to be very important on this kit bash. And it's also a way to fill some gaps, as you saw on the top here. There was still some aluminium foil showing, so what I can do is just cover it with this mix of dirt and glue. I'm planning to also come in with some static grass, but I think I will do that after. All right, I think that's enough texture for now. I really want this one to be sinking in the mud, so I'm going to apply a lot more. But as this is a wooden base, I want to apply a little at a time, because if you cover a wooden piece like this with a lot of glue, it might warp when the glue dries. But yeah, applying a little at a time and building up the layers will be nice. So the same on the back. I added as much as I think was needed, but I think I'm going to add more. But again, I want to leave it to dry first and then see how it looks and maybe apply some more, maybe some other grain sizes, maybe even some rocks up there. I don't know yet. But yeah, I think this troll is starting to come together. I'm really enjoying this project. It's a lot of fun.